Nesse vídeo nós vamos fazer um exercício de compreensão do seu inglês. Você vai entrar agora numa imersão na língua inglesa, porque esse exercício é baseado em uma conversa 100% em inglês e 100% natural, real, entre mim e uma falante nativa do idioma, que eu nem vou dizer de onde ela é agora, porque isso faz parte do exercício também. Eu peço para que agora você se concentre, pode colocar fone de ouvido, porque isso ajuda bastante na compreensão, e já pegue um papel e uma caneta, ou um celular, alguma coisa para você ir fazendo anotações enquanto você assiste a esse vídeo, porque você vai agora ser levado a assistir esse vídeo 100% em inglês e sem legendas, e vão aparecer perguntas na tela para você ver ou para você completar, e é importante que você esteja concentrado para realmente obter um resultado legal nesse vídeo, o quanto você consegue entender de uma conversa 100% em inglês. A pessoa com quem eu falei é uma professora do Cambly, que é uma plataforma para você fazer aulas de inglês com professores e tutores nativos de diferentes lugares do mundo, a qualquer hora, em qualquer lugar, 24 horas por dia. São conversas reais, como essa que você vai ver agora. É realmente uma interação com um ser humano, com uma pessoa, e que é uma prática extremamente importante para você aprender inglês de verdade. São aulas de inglês com professores e tutores nativos de diferentes lugares do mundo, disponíveis 24 horas por dia, 7 dias por semana. Então eu tenho certeza que você praticando a sua fala através do Cambly, você vai conseguir desenvolver uma confiança para contextos de conversação de verdade. E eu tenho uma excelente notícia. Nesse momento eles estão com planos a partir de R$ 10 por aula, mas é por tempo limitado e apenas com o meu código, que é esse aqui, CARINA NOW. E tem também um super bônus para quem comprar nas próximas 48 horas. Você pode ganhar 60 minutos grátis. Clica aqui no link da descrição, usa o meu código e vem praticar no Cambly, porque eu tenho certeza que você não vai se arrepender e seu inglês vai dar um grande salto. Então bora pra atividade. Você vai ver as perguntas, faça suas anotações e continua praticando até o final desse vídeo. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
What's your name?
I'm Pascal. It's a French name, so some people have a little bit of difficulty to pronounce it.
And where are you from?
I'm a mix, so usually this ends up being like at least a 10-minute conversation. I was born in the UK. My dad is British, but my mom is American. But when I was 6 weeks old, my family and I moved to France, where I lived until I was 16 years old. And afterwards, I lived in the States from 16 to 20. And from 20 till now, I've lived in a lot of places around the world, including Brazil, where I currently am.
You are in Brazil now.
Yeah. So I'm happy to talk a little bit about Brazil with you.
Your dad is British. Your mom is American. You were born in England.
In England, yeah.
Where in England? Which city?
In London.
Oh my God. I've been there 5 times.
Oh my goodness. So sounds like you like it quite a lot then.
I love England. No, I think it was 4 times. Yeah, 4 times. I love England. I love the culture, the history and everything. So it's an amazing place.
Yeah, I really like it too, actually. So to me, it's funny because in Europe, the UK has a reputation for being cold and boring in a lot of ways, but I love it. I really feel at home when I'm there, and it's a little bit more boring than Spain, for example, and other sunnier European countries, but for me it just feels really cozy and like comforting being there.
I agree. The only thing I don't love about London and England in general is, what do you think?
The prices.
Yeah, this too, but the food. I don't love the food.
Yeah, that's typical, but have you tried the Sunday roast at least?
Yes, it was good. It was good.
People, I don't know why, but foreigners don't know about the Sunday roast, and they think that it's just fish and chips or what is it, ham and peas,
Yeah. I couldn't stand fish and chips anymore. It's a lot of fried things, and I'm not used to eating fried food. So I was like, okay, I miss the Brazilian food here, but everything else is amazing.
You know what? I did have my first Brazilian food in London, though. So I Had my first moqueca there and my first caipirinha ever as well. And from there, from that moment on, I was sold on Brazil.
Oh yeah, you're here actually, so it means you love
First
Brazil.
caipirinha just brought me all the way over here.
Okay, I need to go to Brazil after this caipirinha. Okay, but then you were born in London and then you moved to America. Where did you live there?
Actually, after the UK, I left to France. So I lived in
Oh yeah.
France from 0 to 16 years old. So that's where I spent my childhood and a part of my teenage years. Yeah, I lived in a very, like, the opposite of famous, very not famous, remote area of France. So it's, I don't know if you've heard of Andorra.
Andorra? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We say Andorra in Portuguese, right?
Yeah, that's it. So it's a little country between Spain and France in the mountains. I didn't even grow up in a town. I grew up like literally in, like, my parents' house is in the mountains there, and like the closest town had 5,000 people, and it was like 25-minute drive away. It's not what people typically imagine of France. It was a very rural lifestyle. People typically imagine Paris or the south of France, right? Like Nice and the Côte d'Azur. Can't remember what we call it in English, but yeah, where I'm from, it was more like agricultural lifestyle.
That's interesting actually. And then you lived there, you studied there like as a teenager, and then you moved to the USA, right?
Exactly. So then when I was 16, I moved to, well, another place in the middle of nowhere in Colorado. So another small town in the middle of nowhere with 5,000 people. But I really liked it though. It was really a fun place to spend a few years, you know. Once I entered adulthood, I got a little bit bored of it and wanted to go to the big city and all of this. But yeah, I really enjoyed living there when I did.
Yeah, I'm just curious asking about your experience in the USA because your accent to my ears is American. You don't have a British accent.
I don't have a British accent, but I think that sometimes my intonation can be a little bit British because travel a lot, your accent definitely, it waters down a little bit, especially when you're American traveling in Europe. When you sound very American, it's like you stick out like a sore thumb, and unfortunately people don't take you very seriously, so you learn to kind of tone it down a little bit. And
Really?
because because
So you think
Americans
people
tend to be a lot louder as well than Europeans. When you're American and you speak as if you're in your natural elements, a lot of times people will kind of side-eye you a little bit, and you kind of learn to adapt. And also because I've had so many British influences around me, then I do have a little element of British in there.
No, it's funny because you said Americans are louder than Europeans. British people, we can say, because Italians are very loud too, and they're Europeans too. But then, if Americans are loud, what are Brazilians?
It's really funny living here because there's so many moments where I really shy away from speaking up the way that Brazilians do. Like the other day, I was waiting for a motor taxi. Where the motor taxis were parked, they weren't seeing me. And what a Brazilian would do is like usually they would like scream, be like, hey, over here, And I was all like, I felt really nervous to like draw attention to myself in that same way. And then there's just like this little kid who came along and he was just like, are you waiting for a motor taxi? I was just like, yeah. And then he just like started screaming at the motor taxis for me, like calling them.
Oh my, yeah, I see. So why did you move to Brazil? The caipirinha was the first thing, okay, but it's not enough.
Definitely the first clue that I should move to Brazil. But honestly, it's a dream that I had when I was 20. So my first contact with Latin America was when I was 20. I went on a 2-month backpacking trip to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala. My first time in Latin America, it just felt very stimulating down there, or up there, I guess. US now, but first of all, the climate, the tropical climate felt really good. The vegetation, so seeing all the palm trees and, all the tropical landscape really did something to my soul. Hearing loud music all the time. I really loved just like kind of the chaos, to be honest. I loved it. Like it really made me feel alive. And I really like learning Spanish as well, and partying quite a bit. So I thought like, oh my God, what would be a better version of this? And I thought like, oh my God, Brazil, it must be like the best, the best place ever. So I kind of held on to this dream throughout my 20s. And eventually when I was 27, I managed to, get the money and come over here after the pandemic, right? There's some dance events that I really like going to here in Rio. So I ended up discovering these dance events. I don't know if you've ever heard of baile charme.
Oh, it's funk music?
No, it's like
No?
R&B line dancing, basically.
No, I don't know. And I'm Brazilian, I'm sorry, but I don't know anything about this.
It's not a very famous dance style or events. It's very like it's created in Brazil, but it's very much based off of American culture. So simplified dance choreographies to R&B songs.
Where everybody, it's like passinho, passinho. Okay, now I got it. Like everybody dancing, every word you say, and then everybody dancing like the same way. Okay, got it, passinho. Now I know passinho.
Right, so I really fell in love with the dancing here in Rio, and I thought about moving back to São Paulo a few times, and I got kind of frustrated about certain elements here, but ultimately what keeps me here is the passinho. So yeah, gradually I've been able to find my place here. So I guess nowadays that's what keeps me here, and I feel like it's been 3 years since I've been in Brazil now, kind of established myself. I think it will sustain me for a long time.
I'm glad to hear you're happy. Thank you so much for this nice conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Então, como você se saiu? Todas as respostas estão no comentário fixado aqui embaixo. Foi fácil? Foi difícil? Let me know in the comments. E eu vou deixar esse vídeo aqui para você assistir, que é um vídeo parecido com esse. Então, se você ficou com um gostinho de quero mais, assiste esse vídeo aqui também. Se inscreve no English in Brazil. See you next video.